People are packing up and leaving Ottawa, and some of the reasons might actually surprise you. You know, every time I post on Instagram or YouTube, I notice a growing trend. More and more people are talking about their frustrations with life in Ottawa, and the reasons for frustrations vary. It can be financial pressures, rising housing costs, or something else entirely. But these aren't just random complaints. They're part of a bigger conversation about the challenges facing our city. So today in this video, I'm going to break down the real reasons why people are making the tough decision to leave Ottawa and what's pushing them to look somewhere else. All right, so it's no secret that over the past few years, Ottawa's housing market has become significantly more expensive. So let's start with the biggest one on the list, affordability. So in 2015, you would pay $370,000 for the average home. Now this home would cost you $660,000. This makes it very challenging for first-time home buyers to enter the market. And I'm not even gonna touch on the nightmare that was real estate during COVID, with offers sometimes hundreds of thousands over asking price. And sadly, renting isn't much easier either, right? There's too few properties to rent, a lot of demand, landlords are passing down their higher costs, and it makes it very difficult to find affordable housing within the city limits. For example, right now, a one-bedroom apartment average cost is about $2,000 a month, which is insane. The province and the city have been working hard to tackle the issue and bring more home supplies by making changes to zoning and trying to slash the red tape to make it faster and cheaper for builders to do their job. But for many, like especially young professionals and families, higher costs are making it harder to justify staying in Ottawa. Like ownership kind of feels out of reach if you're trying to save for a down payment while also keeping up with rent, groceries, everyday expenses that have all shot up over the past few years. So as a result, some are opting to move to smaller town nearby where their money can stretch a bit further, and others are just leaving the province entirely for markets where they feel they can get better affordability. Next, let me ask you a question. When is the last time you were stuck in traffic for what seemed to be hours? And how much did that suck? A lot, right? Well, if you've ever had to commute in Ottawa, you know it's not exactly smooth sailing. And mind you, it's nothing compared to Montreal or Toronto, but it seemed like there's always construction or surprise traffic at super weird hours, and sometimes getting around the city can be a real headache. You can either blame increased population or bad infrastructures for this, but either way, you get used to it. But if you're from a smaller town, this is definitely a shock. And then there's the LRT, light rail transit, which was supposed to make commuting easier, but let's be honest, it's been a bit of a disaster. It's been constant breakdowns, delays, technical failures, and it's more of a guessing game than a reliable transit system at this point. It's like the world's shittiest lotto you can play, right? One day it's running fine and the next day it's shut down for an hour, and then you have to find a last minute solution to get to work. Not great. Then the bus transit is struggling with funding since COVID. I mean, every major city is struggling with financing their transit, but a lot of people are starting working from home during COVID, and there's been a lot less people using the system, which increased the funding deficit. Kind of a vicious circle, right? Less money, then there's less buses and less routes, meaning less people using it, meaning less money. You get it. But for those who depend on public transit to get to work, school, or just around the city, it's been beyond frustrating. People are kind of fed up, but at least the city is trying to tackle the issue. Between the LRT and bus transit, we're looking at a massive multi-billion-dollar project with a lot of moving parts, so unfortunately, problems are to be expected. But for some, the daily struggle of getting around Ottawa got them thinking, like, is this really worth it? So some people are moving to another city with better transit, or most likely scenarios, they're moving to the suburbs and just get a car. Now, if you're a normal person, you probably ask yourself this question a lot recently: why is this so f***ing expensive? Listen, it's no secret that the whole country is struggling and feeling a financial squeeze with the higher cost of living, and sadly, Ottawa is no exception. On top of rising utility bills, grocery prices, insurance costs, etc., in 2024, property taxes went up by over 2.5%, and this year we're looking at over 3.5% an increase. And that means that homeowners are paying a bit more every year. And for some, the solution is just move outside of Ottawa. You can pay less for your home, and usually home is your biggest expense, or it reduces your monthly expenses. Places like Rockland, Kempville, Carleton Place, even Gatineau have become popular alternatives because housing is cheaper, property taxes tend to be lower, and you're still close enough to commute to the city if you need to. At the very least, this is certainly a good idea for first-time homebuyers to get in the market. And although it might not be ideal for everyone, it's a small sacrifice to keep some of that hard-earned money in your pockets. And quick side note to this, as for Gatineau, yes, housing is cheaper and so is a few other things like electricity, and we don't pay water, but income tax and a few other things are more expensive. So it might not actually be such a great deal, or you might not save that much money. So it really depends on your situation. All right, quick timeout. If you like content like this, take a minute to check out and follow the Ottawa Reel on Instagram. I post there daily content about Ottawa news, event, development, new restaurants, whatever, everything, right? So stay informed, stay connected, and go check the Ottawa Reel on Instagram. See you there. All right, let me get real for you and tell you a quick story, okay? By now, most of you know I used to be in the military, and in the military, we have exercises and courses outdoors year-round. That's the military, obviously. Some of those courses are designed to teach you stuff, and some others are just to build your resilience, so make you as miserable as humanly possible and hope somehow you become like a better soldier at the other end. At one point in my career, I find myself put on one of those resilience building course, and believe me when I say I have never been so miserable in my entire life. We're talking no sleep, no supplies, barely food. Listen, it was hell. It was horrible, right? And every day we broke cold records mid-February. It was awful. And the reason I'm telling you this is because another reason why people are leaving Ottawa is winter. And to be honest, winter in Ottawa is not all bad, right? It's cold, but there's not actually that much snow. It's just that it never seems to end, and wind will make your face hurt the second you step outside. I've had a lot of conversation with people who tell me, I love Ottawa, but I just can't do another winter. And obviously I get it. I hate winter, right? And after shoveling 2 hours, the idea of moving somewhere warmer starts to sound really good. And that's exactly why you see people skipping winter completely and going somewhere warm for 6 months. I mean, I get it. My point is that at the end of the day, not everyone is built for 6 months of snow, ice, and freezing cold. But with my hate of winter, if I made it, so can you. Now, one of the biggest complaints I hear from Ottawa residents isn't just about housing prices or traffic, it's about how the city is run. There's unfortunately a growing sense that the municipal government is just out of touch with what residents actually want, right? People are frustrated with the city's lack of transparency, whether it's hiring shady companies for big projects, approving developments without clear communication or community's approval, or even councillors making decisions without all the facts. Take public consultation, for example, right? They're supposed to give residents a say in how the city is shaped, but in reality, they often feel like a formality, just a way for bureaucrats to sell decisions they already made rather than actually actively listening to the public. Lansdowne 2.0 is a prime example of community being bulldozed in a half-baked, straight-up unwanted project. Some other major projects keep dragging on for years with no accountability for delays or budget overruns that ultimately are paid by you and me. And for so many residents, it's not just about the policies themselves, because you can't disagree with stuff, that's just normal. It's about feeling unheard. And if you don't feel like your city is working for you, you'll start looking for a fresh start somewhere else when they actually do listen to you. And last point, it's not a surprise to anyone, but I'll preface this by saying that Ottawa is a beautiful city with great museums, historic sites, outdoor space, and plenty of stuff to do. But when it comes to excitement, it's not known for its buzz, right? For a lot of people, Ottawa just doesn't have that big city energy. The nightlife is pretty tame. Concerts and festivals are fine, but we could use more on the music scene, and both in diversity and numbers of shows. Actually, summer is actually pretty good and busy, but by the time winter rolls around, it can feel like the whole city goes into hibernation. If you're someone who loves fast-paced city life, late-night entertainment, and if you're a bit of a night owl, Ottawa might start to feel dull after a little bit. And it's not just about nightlife, right? The overall vibe of the city is quieter and more family focused. A lot of businesses close early, and if you're out past 9 or 10 p.m. on a weekday, good luck finding anything open. Compared to cities like Toronto, Montreal, or Vancouver, Ottawa just doesn't have the same cultural or social scene, right? Younger professionals and creatives are obviously the one more affected or bothered by this and the ones who end up moving out. But to be fair, Ottawa has never claimed to be this vibrant 24/7 city. And however, the city is definitely aware of its reputation, and they just appointed a new nightlife council to try to make the city more attractive for young people. So at least they're trying. Now, don't get me wrong, right? Ottawa is still an amazing place to live. It's got great schools, beautiful green spaces, and actually ranked 20th worldwide for quality of life by Mercer. Thing is, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. The key is figuring out what works best for you and your lifestyle. And to do that, there's really two ways you can do this. One, you can reach out and book a call with me because I'd love to help you figure out if Ottawa is actually a good fit for you and help you navigate the market. Or two, get some more useful tip about Ottawa in the next video right here.